a tangled web of betrayal and desire. Welcome to Silent Confessions. I never imagined my life could take such a drastic turn. My name is Maya, and up until last year, I thought I had everything figured out. I was married to Jake, a man who was stable, reliable, and predictable. We'd been together for 5 years. Ours wasn't the kind of romance you see in movies, but it was comfortable, familiar. I worked as a marketing executive in a fast-paced advertising firm, a job that I loved even when it exhausted me. Nathan, my boss, was the kind of man who exuded power without even trying. He wasn't just attractive, he was magnetic. Everything about him seemed effortlessly polished, from the sharp cut of his suits to the way he spoke with a calm confidence that could disarm anyone. I respected him, admired him from a distance, but never once thought of him in a way that crossed the professional boundary. At least, not until that night. It all began at the company's annual gala, an event that everyone anticipated for weeks. The office was transformed into a glittering wonderland that evening. Tiny golden lights draped over the windows, sleek cocktail tables scattered across the room, and a live jazz band played in the corner, their music mingling with the hum of chatter and laughter. The scent of expensive perfume hung in the air, mixing with the faint aroma of fresh flowers that adorned every surface. I had spent more time than usual getting ready that night. I don't know why, but something about the event felt different. I slid into a black dress that hugged my figure perfectly. Jake had bought it for me, though he hadn't even noticed when I tried it on at home. That memory lingered in my mind as I adjusted my makeup and smoothed my hair one last time. When I arrived at the gala, I felt a strange mix of excitement and unease. People were already milling around, their glasses sparkling as they raised toasts to a successful year. I made small talk with colleagues, laughed at jokes that weren't particularly funny, and tried to blend into the background. And then Nathan walked in. He was late, of course, but when he entered the room, it was as if everything stopped. He had that kind of presence, the ability to draw every eye without saying a word. His suit, a deep navy with subtle pinstripes, fit him like a glove, and his tie was loosened just enough to suggest he was there to enjoy himself, not just work the room. I tried to avoid his gaze, but it was impossible. He made his rounds, shaking hands, clapping people on the shoulder, sharing inside jokes that made everyone feel special. When he finally reached me, I was standing by the bar, nursing a glass of wine and pretending to be engrossed in the label on the bottle. "You look stunning tonight, Maya," he said, his voice smooth and low. I looked up, startled, and managed to smile. "Thanks, Nathan. You look pretty sharp yourself." He leaned slightly closer, just enough to make my heart race. "Sharp, huh? I'll take that as a compliment." The rest of the night passed in a blur of laughter, music, and clinking glasses. At one point, Nathan gathered a group of us to discuss the upcoming Packers versus Bears game. I wasn't much of a football fan, but the energy in the room was infectious. "All right," Nathan said, his grin playful. "Let's make it interesting. Whoever guesses the final score gets dinner on me at the Skylark. And I mean the whole deal. Wine, dessert, chef's special. So who's in?" I surprised even myself when I spoke up. "Packers 27-20, I said, feigning confidence. Nathan raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. "A bold choice, I like it." That Sunday, Jake and I watched the game together at home. He was sprawled on the couch, his eyes glued to the screen while I tried to focus on the score. When the Bears won 31-24, I groaned inwardly, remembering the bet. Jake didn't even notice my reaction, too engrossed in the game to care. Monday morning arrived, and I found a note on my desk. It was written on heavy cream-colored stationery, the kind that felt luxurious just to touch. "Maya, looks like you owe me dinner. How about tonight, 8 p.m.? I'll pick you up, Nathan." I stared at the note, my stomach flipping. Part of me wanted to crumple it up and pretend it never existed, but another part of me, one I wasn't ready to acknowledge, was intrigued. Before I could overthink it, I texted him back with a simple, "Okay." That evening, I told Jake I'd be working late. He barely looked up from his laptop, muttering something about not waiting up for me. I felt a pang of guilt, but pushed it aside. At exactly 8 p.m., Nathan pulled up outside my apartment in a sleek black car that looked like it had just rolled off the showroom floor. He stepped out, opened the door for me, and flashed a smile that made my pulse quicken. We drove to the Skylark, a rooftop restaurant that was as breathtaking as Nathan had described. The view was stunning, the entire city spread out before us like a sea of twinkling lights. Inside, the ambiance was intimate and elegant, with soft candlelight flickering on every table and a faint scent of lavender in the air. Nathan ordered a bottle of red wine without even glancing at the menu, his confidence as effortless as always. The conversation started light: work, mutual acquaintances, the latest industry gossip. But as the night wore on, it became more personal. He told me about his childhood, his parents' rocky marriage, and the struggles he faced building his career. There was a vulnerability in his words that I hadn't expected, and it drew me in. "You know, Maya," he said, swirling the wine in his glass, "you're not like the others. There's something about you, this quiet strength, this fire. It's rare." His words sent a shiver down my spine. I didn't know what to say, so I just smiled, hoping it didn't look as awkward as it felt. By the time dinner ended, it was nearly midnight. The car ride home was quiet, the kind of silence that felt charged with unspoken words. When he pulled into a quiet street near my apartment, he turned off the engine and looked at me. "Maya," he began, his voice softer now. I knew I should stop him. I knew this was a line I couldn't uncross, but when he leaned in, I didn't pull away. The kiss was electric, and before I knew it, we were in the back seat, our clothes discarded, and our breaths mingling in the dim light. It was wild, raw, and completely unlike anything I'd ever experienced. When it was over, reality crashed down on me like a tidal wave. I hurriedly gathered my things, mumbling an excuse about needing to get home. Nathan tried to stop me, his voice gentle, but I couldn't stay. Jake was already asleep when I got home, oblivious to the storm raging inside me. I locked myself in the bathroom, standing under the shower until the water ran cold, trying to wash away the guilt and the scent of Nathan that clung to my skin. The days that followed were a blur of stolen glances and whispered conversations at work. At home, Jake seemed distant, his late nights and vague excuses piling up. I tried to push my suspicions aside, but then I found the note. It was hidden in his jacket pocket, written on pale pink paper and smelling faintly of perfume. "Can't wait to see you again. I miss your touch. Love, M." My hands trembled as I read it. The irony wasn't lost on me. I had betrayed him, and now he was betraying me. But who was M? Nathan and I pieced it together one night over drinks at his place. The answer was almost too perfect, too twisted to be real. I couldn't stop obsessing over that note, over that single mocking letter, M. Who was she? What did she have that I didn't? Jake had always been a private man, but now his privacy felt like a fortress, an impenetrable wall that I hadn't even realized was there until this moment. I decided I couldn't just sit back and wonder. I needed answers. Maya's seemingly stable life spirals out of control when she's drawn into an affair with her charismatic boss, Nathan. As she grapples with her infidelity, she discovers her husband Jake's betrayal, unraveling secrets and confrontations that threaten to change everything. Maya's seemingly stable life spirals out of control when she's drawn into an affair with her charismatic boss, Nathan. As she grapples with her infidelity, she discovers her husband Jake's betrayal, unraveling secrets and confrontations that threaten to change everything. So that's where the story stands, a tangled web of lies, passion, and betrayal. 4 people, each with their own secrets, their own sins, and their own choices. Nathan and I chose to keep quiet, to let things unfold as they would, but it wasn't an easy decision. Now, I want to ask you, if you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you have confronted your partner, walked away? Or maybe you think staying silent was the right call. Tell me in the comments. Be honest. There's no judgment here. This is a space for confessions, after all. And remember, life isn't always black and white. Sometimes the choices we make are shaped by emotions we can't control. If this story had you hooked, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next tale of passion, betrayal, and secrets. Who knows? The next story might make you question everything you thought you knew about love. I'll be reading your comments, so let's talk about it. Until next time, stay curious, my silent confessors.